I'm breathing underwater, I'm weightless through space. I'm soaring like an eagle all over this place. Creatures most will never see are waiting there to look at me, and all I gotta do is breathe underwater. The sea view is positioned over one of the deepest trenches in the ocean, and they're prepping the diving bell to descend into it. But today there's something different.
Sir, how's it coming?
Oh, we're just about ready once we get the word to launch.
In a few minutes now, we should be over the trench.
Skipper, I know this is none of my business, but I sure don't like the idea of you going down there alone.
Don't worry, Chief. I'm sure there's not much risk.
He's testing a newly developed atmosphere mixture that's supposed to prevent decompression sickness, aka the bends, from happening when you come back up.
Thank you, gentlemen. I can manage quite nicely now.
You all set, Doctor?
Well, just about. All we need now is the go-ahead from Admiral Nelson back at the Institute.
Here's the checklist you gave me, Dr. Bradock. I think you'll find everything there.
Dr. Bradock is the one who developed the atmosphere. He'll be monitoring Captain Crane over the intercom for the whole dive. Nelson just gave the go-ahead, so down he goes, clear to the bottom, well below 35,000 feet. The bell touches the bottom, he's feeling fine and says, "Okay, haul me up."
Any effects yet? Captain. Captain, do you read me? He's not responding.
Skipper. Skipper, reply. Skipper!
Bring him up fast.
He exits the bell looking and feeling normal, but he can't account for that time he was out of communication.
Well, the bell touched bottom, then started up. I remember telling you on the mic that I felt fine. There were no effects. And after that, the bell entered the hatch.
Yeah, there was some other stuff in between those that he doesn't remember. Therein lies the problem.
How does it look, Doc?
By the book, you should have a thorough case of the bends, but you haven't. That atmosphere of Bradock's is pretty remarkable stuff.
Then I'm okay, huh?
Sound as a dollar.
In 1968, the dollar was pretty sound. Emphasis on was.
I see no medical reason for not making another descent in the morning.
Now, what about that apparent blackout that I had?
Well, I'm inclined to put it down to temporary amnesia induced by hysteria.
Hysteria?
Well, medically speaking. It can do strange things.
Or maybe he lost consciousness. Neither he nor Bradock will consider that prospect. And the hysteria he's talking about is a medical psychological condition. It's a very different thing than the Def Leppard kind.
As witness Bradock's legs.
Oh, what about his legs?
His paralysis was also hysteria-induced, although not temporary, unfortunately. He made his first experiments with the new atmosphere and came out of it the way you see him now.
It's called hysterical paralysis, and it's a real thing that's usually brought on by trauma. If you've ever seen Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, this is what Steve Martin was faking. There are various ways to try and treat it, mostly involving dealing with the trauma that caused it. I get the feeling Bradock hasn't tried any of them.
If the Admiral gives the go-ahead, I'll be making another dive in the morning.
All right.
The key element, the purpose of all this, is to keep him from getting bent after going so deep. So far, that's a success.
The yeoman finished writing up the log. You want to sign?
Yes, he's going to stay in character, act the way he always does, and hide it from everybody. He says he's going to bed, but he knows something isn't right.
Sickbay, this is the captain. Doc, come up to my cabin right away, will you?
This is Bradock, Captain. Can I help you?
Doctor, what are you doing down there?
Writing a medical report to send the Institute.
I have to see the doctor right away.
He's down in the pharmacy supply room. Why don't you come to sickbay? Perhaps he'll return by the time you get here.
Be right there.
The doctor is still off on an errand, so Bradock examines him.
Do you know what it is?
There's nothing to be alarmed about.
Yes, but what?
Well, the first experiments I made on the atmosphere produced a similar effect on me. It turned out to be a rather rare nervous disorder. Rest is the best cure. You'll find it'll disappear rapidly, as it did with me.
He had furry hands too, but he also lost the use of his legs. Is that going to happen to Captain Crane? Bradock keeps pushing him to head to bed without seeing the doctor. You wonder why.
I've written a complete report of it. I'll send it to Nelson at the Institute. Now do me a favor and go to bed.
Well, if you think that's best.
I most certainly do, Captain. Good night.
Good night. Thank you, Doctor.
Whatever is happening to the captain, he knows about it and is trying to hide it. I think he knows there's something wrong with his atmosphere. Now, deep divers do generally use a different gas mixture than regular air, but that just involves replacing most of the nitrogen with helium. Helium doesn't cause the bends. The worst it does is
make your voice sound like Alvin and the Chipmunks.
Skipper, Mr. Morton would like you to sign the log before you turn in. Are you all right, sir?
Yes.
Are you sure?
I'm all right. Get out of here. Leave me alone.
Aye, sir. Look, Skipper, all I need is your signature.
Will you get out?
get on the horn and tell Mr. Morton, Chief. Within seconds, Crane is transformed into your typical, basic Irwin Allen monster. I do give David Hedison major credit for adding the crazy eyes. He's almost too good at it. Like a good Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea monster, the first place he heads is the circuitry room. Yet again, I reiterate that the circuitry room is the real star of the show. He forgot to rip out that big cable by the door, but he'll take care of that after he makes sure Kowalski is going to stay down for a while.
Fire in the circuitry room! Fire in the circuitry room!
Chip is trying to raise the captain on the intercom, but Bradock is trying to talk him out of it. What is with this guy? Why did he do that? If he's become a mindless monster, how does he know what the radio is?
After him! Get on from the locker! Shoot to kill!
Fortunately, nobody will find him. Sparks is all right, but it'll take at least 24 hours to get the radio going again. That's a problem. The fire is out and the damage is minimal.
Where are you going, Commander?
To find out why Captain Crane didn't answer my call.
It might also be a good idea to find out why Bradock didn't want you calling him at all. Lawrence Montaigne was a well-known character actor. We saw him twice in the Time Tunnel, and he was one of Joker's henchmen in a Batman story. He was also in an episode of Hogan's Heroes, which we're having fun with on Patreon. If you're curious, head to patreon.com/IrvingZoo and take a look. Set a spell. Take your shoes off. Wait, that was something else. A lot of people, myself included, remember him as Ston, Spock's rival in the original Star Trek episode Amok Time, when Spock went through Ponfar. In fact, that character is his IMDb page thumbnail. But he said his favorite role and the one that defined his career was Haynes, the diversion man in The Great Escape. I can't blame him. That movie is legendary. Even so, I bet he enjoyed this role as well, since he got to do it sitting down.
Lee? You all right?
You didn't really expect us to reveal him as the monster this early, did you?
Well, let me get this straight, Kowalski. Now, you say the fire started when some sort of creature attacked you. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Well, describe it.
That's not so easy to do, sir. It was horrible. It was like a nightmare beast, sort of. It was wearing a uniform.
What kind of uniform?
Well, it was like yours in a way, sir.
He's so close. They all are. Everybody who saw it confirms it was wearing an officer's uniform. Sharky takes him into the hall to explain what happened and what he saw.
How is the mansion?
Badly injured. I'm waiting for a report from the doc now.
Chief, Kowalski's description fits with what you saw, right?
Yes, sir. All except maybe for the size.
What about the size?
Well, sir, I'd say it was, at least 8 feet tall, maybe more. That's why I didn't have a chance against it.
He has to find some explanation why he lost. On this boat, a critter 8 feet tall would have to fold itself in two to fit through the hatches. Nobody's buying it. They know Sharky's just trying to save face.
Captain Crane. Captain Crane.
There's the doc now.
Skipper here. What is it, Doc?
I regret to report, sir, that I've lost the patient.
The expendable extra has been expended. Back at the Institute, Admiral Nelson has received some upsetting news, and he can't contact the Seaview.
Nelson, are you absolutely sure about that analysis? I see. Well, I still haven't been able to reach Seaview, and I can't let Crane make another dive. So I'm taking the flying sub to Seaview. See that the antidote is loaded aboard immediately.
At first, I wondered why the flying sub was there and not on the Seaview. Then I realized that's probably how he got here. Duh. And by the way, antidote for what?
Still no word from the Admiral?
Afraid not.
I will take full responsibility for the dive. Now let's get on with it.
Very well. I guess there's no point in delaying it. Lower away.
They're under strict orders not to do any dives without Admiral Nelson's approval, not Bradock's. By the time Nelson arrives and says to bring him up, he's already close to the bottom.
So far, so good. The descent is exactly like the first one. The waters are getting dark as we go deeper.
That sign behind him says laser control. If it gets too dark, he can always fire up the laser. It should light things up. His mind is going, oh crap, the monster is me! He goes on a rampage inside the bell and destroys the intercom, among other things. Such as a perfectly good uniform shirt. He's way overdue to report in, but Bradock has an answer for everything. His answers are just a little too pat for everyone's taste.
Stop that winch! How dare you give such an order? How far from the bottom?
4 fathoms, sir.
Continue on down.
Relay that, bring up the belt.
No, just a few more feet. I must have exact information. The experiment must be precise.
The captain's safety overrules the experiment. I'm not sure Bradock understands that.
You all right, Captain?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Why didn't you maintain contact, Captain?
Equipment trouble. We'll need repairs in there.
I'll see to it right away, sir.
Nobody's looking at the damage and asking how it happened. And Crane isn't volunteering anything.
I just came aboard, Chip.
So did the Admiral.
He's back?
And howling mad. He wants to see you in his cabin on the double.
Very well.
That's putting it mildly. He's not just angry, he's terrified.
No right. No right to make that second dive without orders from me.
As captain of the ship, I had every right to do it.
All right. Let's not go through that again. Well, since that last dive, has Doc given you a physical?
No, I was told to report directly to you.
All right, we'll take care of that right now. Sick bay. No. Sick bay. What's the matter?
Nothing, I'm all right.
You're hurt. Take off the jacket.
I said I'm all right.
But this is nothing to fool with. Take off the jacket.
He knows a bullet crease when he sees one.
You might as well know everything.
He's your superior officer and he's in charge of this whole thing. You think?
Chip shot me.
Chip.
He didn't know what he was shooting at. He was trying to kill what he thought was a beast. A wild beast.
Nelson says, I was afraid of this.
People at the Institute have been running some additional tests on Bradock's atmosphere. And discovered some dangerous side effects.
Like what happened to me, you mean?
Well, even more dangerous, possibly. We should have known when Bradock himself was affected by the first experiment.
And yet you went ahead with his plan before your people did that further analysis. Something feels a little bass-ackward here. The good news, he brought the antidote. But it's pretty unstable, so if they don't get it into him within the hour, it'll be useless. Off to sickbay.
All right, Captain, there you are.
Thanks, Doc.
Put your shirt on now.
He still needs to give him an injection, which means he'll have to take it off again. And besides, I don't hear anybody complaining about him having it off.
Now, Admiral, about this vaccine antidote.
Yes, I want you to administer it right away. It deteriorates rapidly. Any doubts about it, it was thoroughly tested by the Institute lab.
I'm sure of that, sir.
All this talk of antidotes undoubtedly means that you're ready to cancel all further tests of my atmosphere.
I'm afraid that's precisely what it means.
They've gotten the answers they need about it, Doctor. You may not like them, but there it is.
In other words, all my work, all my years of research, everything down the drain.
No, not at all. Your work has merit, otherwise we wouldn't have bothered with it in the first place. But it needs more, much more, before we can risk the life of another human being.
And what if I am unwilling to give another 5 years of back-breaking work?
Well, that's up to you, isn't it?
This is taking way too long. He should have had it ready when he got done patching up his arm. Now it's too late. The doctor is down for the count. Nelson gets on the horn and orders search parties with tranquilizer guns to find and capture the captain. The men all took it in stride because it wasn't the first time they'd heard a goofy order like that.
That was horrible. What happened to him?
You hurt?
No, I'm all right. What about the antidote?
Well, unless we get it to Lee within less than an hour, it'll be useless. So keep a hypo handy. Wait for my car.
The first ones to find him are Sharkey and Kowalski. I get the feeling these two had as much fun working together as the Chief and Nelson did. Terry Becker and Del Monroe play off each other like brothers. So the monster can handle a gun. That's different.
Where's Dr. Bradock?
Bradock? Well, I don't know.
Well, he was here when I left.
He must have gone out while I was working.
How? He couldn't move a wheelchair around the ship without help. Every passageway hatch has a high sill.
Yes, that's right.
Very strange, wouldn't you say?
Strange. It's inexplicable.
Well, I wouldn't quite go that far. There's a very good explanation.
Yeah, as we've suspected for a while, he can walk.
Attention all hands. This is the Admiral. Captain Crane is still at large, and it's vital he be captured within the next 30 minutes. If not, it'll be too late to save his life. All hands not on specific assignment, ordered to join the search. I'll be waiting in my cabin. Any information should be reported to me there.
Speaking of inexplicable things, the men can't explain why the Admiral is cooling his jets in his cabin while the rest of them are searching.
Drop the gun on the deck.
Nelson, I thought...
You thought you'd kill me, didn't you?
That's why he killed a hastily constructed dummy. Nice grouping, though.
How did you know?
You told me. In several ways. When you took a shot at me in the corridor, I knew it couldn't be Crane. In his condition, he could hardly handle a gun. And you, confined to a wheelchair, couldn't travel very far in a submarine.
Bradock agrees that he'll face a murder charge for the dead crewman.
But why, Bradock? Why?
I was crippled for a time. The result of my first experiment. Then I developed the other symptoms.
Like Lee?
Yes. I had to find a way to cure myself. I looked for a human subject to work on.
So Crane became your guinea pig. You would have killed him. If you haven't already.
Or I would have found a cure for both of us. But it's too late now.
He wouldn't have found a cure by doing what he did. The folks at the Institute lab went about this the right way. That's why Nelson has an antidote and Bradock doesn't.
Murder, disgrace, ruin. You've done a good job on me.
He didn't do anything. You did it all yourself. All he did was figure it out. I assume he'll have a closed casket funeral. Sharkey reports that they have the captain trapped in the missile room. He's jammed the hatch wheel, but they just cut through.
Diving bell's gone.
He's launched it.
Come on. Let her back aboard in less than a minute.
What's he trying to do in the diving bell? Whatever it is, they'll keep him from it.
Something's wrong. Slow it down.
Cable snap.
Or not. They have one chance to stop him from slamming into the bottom and probably becoming that creature for life.
We'll have to catch the Belby before he gets below our crush depth. I only had one shot at this, so make it good, huh?
We're learning a lot about the diving bell today. Not only does it have a laser, I'm guessing it's under one of these things, it's made of light enough material that the flying sub can lift it easily. And I get the feeling nobody's checked that cable in about 12 years. Next, our director makes a mistake.
You got it?
Got it, sir.
Why didn't we see it? Show me the claw grabbing onto the cable. Don't tell me it happened. As I said, our director blew that scene. The diving bell is back on board, and they're ready to open it.
Heavy gun tray.
It's nice you have the guns ready. Now shoot them. And now let's get all science-y.
I want to be lowered to at least 30,000 feet.
Admiral, you can't risk that. The same thing could happen to you.
No, I'm not using Bradock's atmosphere. This is our only chance to save Crane's life. We're well past the deadline for the antidote. If I inject it here, it'll kill him.
Admiral, I don't get it.
Well, it's only a theory, but it's got to work. I'm going to make the injection down below under enormous pressure.
The antidote has lost its potency, but the pressure of 22,000 psi on it will revitalize it.
I don't get it.
Me too, but here goes. You're moving too fast. He won't have time to wake up and stop you at this rate. Oh, right, that's the idea. He finishes changing back, although I'm half inclined to suggest that he keep the nose.
Seville, haul us up.
Aye, sir.
If the worst he came out with is a bruise on his arm and some smeared eyeliner, he's a very lucky person. Having one of the crew be the monster of the week isn't even a new idea. They've done it before. Bradock did add an extra element of suspense, and I did enjoy it. I figured out early on that he could walk because I read up on hysterical paralysis. Sometimes it can last for a year or more, but a lifelong case is about as common as a hen's tooth. That meant there was a good chance he was faking. Admiral Nelson just shooting him like that was different. It was a plain case of self-defense, but you don't often see him get lethal. For that matter, you don't often see anybody get lethal, at least with humans. Irwin pulled that cure out of us where he wasn't looking, but we expect that from him. It's part of the fun. And I still think he should think about that nose. If you want to be recognized, I guarantee nobody's going to forget a face like that.
All I gotta do is breathe underwater. Breathe underwater. Breathe underwater.
He's testing a newly developed atmosphere mixture.